Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, A Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow, Moo. And we are joined today by...
your co-host, Jonathan Moody.
How's it going?
Good.
And we have several special guests here with us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. First we have...
Hi, I'm G Larry Butler.
Yay! And along with G Larry Butler we have...
I'm Sarah Adkins.
Yay! And along with those two we have...
I'm Cody Hancock.
Outstanding. Welcome. 5 for the price of 1 today for our episode. And what episode is that? Well, glad you asked. We are going in the way, way back machine all the way back to 1990. And the episode is going to be Flesh Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders, otherwise known as Flesh Gordon 2. Because there was a porn Flesh Gordon back in 1974. Same guy. This is not the porn version. This is the ridiculous, silly, stupid, weird, soft porn parody version.
We promise.
And it's weird and strange and terrible, but should be a lot of fun. But before we get to that, we're going to listen to some mood music, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. So, who wants to talk first about this ridiculous movie?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Flash Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders. Okay, Sarah, you look like you're dying to say something.
Well, I'm just saying this movie had so much to it. It was jam-packed of just joke after joke after joke, and it's so much to unfold. I don't even know how to begin with this.
Turd impacted.
Constipation 1 and 2, right?
Was it tit-tacular?
Yes, it was titillating. Yes. The Cosmic Cheerleaders were amazing. They were very nude, but they were amazing, which was also amazing, but yes.
I mean, they really weren't. I mean, they were nude for a little bit, but mostly they just kind of ran around in skimpy costumes.
Yeah, but that in the beginning they were a little more.
Mm-hmm. But what did you think overall?
Overall, I actually really enjoyed it, and it's something that I would own. I would own, and I would show it to my friends.
Wow.
I loved it.
I'm surprised. I
don't really see movies like that often. Honestly, it was kind of new for me, and it was fun. Like,
okay,
I liked all the critters, like the monsters, and everything like that. And I'm a bit of a dirty birdie. I enjoyed it.
Cody, what about you?
Man, I'm at a loss for words, to be 100% honest.
It's almost like you have a dick in your mouth. You just can't say it.
Yeah? Yeah, production value is actually decent for a movie of its sort.
Of its sort?
Of its sort.
It had a high budget, right? Like $1.5 million.
$1.5 million bucks, yeah.
For back then, too, though, that stretched a lot farther than it does now.
Just practical effects.
Just like many of the planets.
By the way, there's going to be a lot of sexual jokes in this because of the movie. We're all in that mindset. Yes, we were in that mindset. So, yes, you were saying you're at a loss for words.
I'm at a loss for words still.
All right.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, let's bounce it over to G Larry Butler. What did you think of this movie?
It's reminiscent of the Double D Avenger in a way, except it took it a little farther.
Definitely took it farther.
They took it pretty far.
Yeah. It's his was a G rated compared to this.
Yeah,
right.
I actually thought Double D Avenger was pretty hardcore until I watched this.
I kept saying, I'm like, William Winkler must have seen this. He must have loved this. If he hasn't,
I think it inspired him. You know, when the boobies were bouncing, there was that boing, boing, boing.
That does inspire most men.
Right? The same sound effects.
Right.
That William Winkler uses. So, I don't know. I really was impressed because it was the 90s with some of the special effects.
Yeah.
I don't know how they happened to do that.
Right.
You know, they did a very good job. The subject matter was a little beyond me at my advanced age. So I was like, oh my god. But,
Did you feel a little embarrassed watching it with people
Yeah,
or something?
kinda. Thank
He
God I was in
said-
the back.
Right.
He
Thank God you're in the
said,
back.
make sure you get a stinky movie for our
Yeah.
buddy G Larry
Oh,
Butler.
thank you, Jonathan. No, nobody
Right.
saw me in the back. I was
I know,
probably
you're in the
sleeping.
back.
I was sleeping
They're like,
most
this
of the
is
time.
a live viewing. We're
I-
gonna have this movie. Yeah.
There you
I
go.
kept waking up thinking, am I dreaming? Am I
I wish you were.
hallucinating? What are they putting in my tea? My God.
I thought our laughter was gonna wake you up.
It
though.
did, I think, a couple
Right?
Well,
times.
yeah, but I'd go right back to sleep.
That flaccid ring.
So, Moody, what about you? What did you think?
Okay, so you had told us before a little bit about this movie, and that, especially the title, just, oh my god. So I was like, alright, I kind of expected Double D Adventure style humor, but yeah, it went above and beyond that kind of stuff. You said before too that it reminded you a little bit of like The Forbidden Zone and a couple other films that we've reviewed and everything. It kind of does, but
Times 10.
times 10. Yeah, I mean it was. I wonder if you have a movie that goes a little even further
course.
than this movie.
Of course
Oh my
I do.
God.
I'm sure.
But it had a lot of dick and fart jokes and boobies and
Right? I kind of want to see the original now, the
Poop.
first one.
he wants to watch. She
Sexploitation
wants to watch the Flesh Gordon.
Right,
first
so
one.
I'll give a little bit of background on this. So, yes, Flesh Gordon Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders, a.k.a. Flesh Gordon 2, was made in 1990. It was directed and written by Howard Zilm, Zielm, who was a director and producer of dirty, filthy smut movies in the 70s. He called them beaver movies. Okay? And in 1974, he did the porn parody Flesh Gordon, which is fairly infamous because it's pretty bad. And
So who was the original Flesh Gordon? Some like porn actor guy?
yeah, I forget who the
Because
guy
Vince was not a
no,
porn
no, no,
actor.
no, 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 no. But my plan was to show that on Sexploitation Sleazecast and inflict it on poor Rebecca Reinhardt. It's going to love it. But I knew that after all of these other sex movies, for whatever reason, Howard Zilm came up and said, I'm going to try and go legit, and I'm going to make a porn parody that doesn't really have porn, but has enough sex and fart and poop jokes that I think I can make my breakout hit. And
he did.
This
Those
is
are my
what he came
favorite
up
jokes.
with.
So.
How did it do at the box office?
Well, it made 1.3 million. So you figure it cost 1.5 and it made 1.3 million. Now,
And it lost 0.2 million.
whether that actually was released in the theaters, I have very much doubted. I've got to think, because I remember this. I saw this years ago in the VHS, copy.
Wait. This was on VHS?
This was on
Well,
VHS.
out in 1990. Well, now it's on DVD because I just looked it up on Amazon. You
There
can
you
buy
go.
both movies together for
There you
$65.
go. Outstanding.
Well, that's
That's probably
$65
Is it
well
Blu-ray?
spent.
Because that would
Yes.
be
I
fabulous.
don't think they are. I think they're just regular DVDs for $65.
Wow.
4K.
But
Yeah,
back in the
4K
day,
in 3D.
Back in the day, this is
Oh,
one
I
of
don't wanna
those.
watch that
This
3D.
is one of those VHS movies that was on every Mon Pa VHS movie corner store. So of course I saw it then, and I was like, "Holy
I
shit!"
bet my mom had it.
So
Your
Yeah.
mom had it.
I bet your mom had it, knowing
Nice,
her.
nice,
I
nice.
bet you should ask her about it.
So yeah, the director did all sorts of things previous to that. He did things like Hot Cookies and Star Virgin and all kinds of just
God, I
Hot
gotta see
cookies.
those.
What is
beaver
hot-
movies.
What's hot cookie?
wanna
It's
watch
going to
these
be
beaver
a
movies.
soft
Yeah.
porn or porn movie that he made in the 70s.
Oh, all right.
They just had weird titles like that back then. Ridiculous.
Sugar
things like that.
cookies. There's
Exactly,
like a movie,
exactly.
There's a movie called Sugar Cookies. That,
And he
Lloyd Kaufman
wrote
produced.
this one too.
oh,
So then, of course, let's talk about the cast. Flesh Gordon himself was played by Vince Murdocco.
yes.
Yes,
I
from
love Vince.
Kickboxer 2. He was also in LA Wars, Ring of Fire, Night Hunter,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other stuff.
He's a really, like, I always liked him.
He was a
He's
professional
cheesy
kickboxer.
actor. He's a professional kickboxer,
Right.
and he was also a very, like, you know, he's just a really good-looking normal guy, you know, like he can play pretty.
If you can
well.
go with that Saved by the Bell hair.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that hair
Those
is not
extra
his
white
normal
teeth.
hair.
That really annoyed me.
All these actors in the
Can't be
movie
that
are all
good
new to
looking
me.
and
you know,
have
white
like,
teeth.
Right?
That
with it being a 1990 movie.
That was a thing back in the 80s and 90s. Was in order to have your action movies, you would end up hiring stunt people or people back in mixed martial arts or that sort of thing, and you could just build movies around it. I mean, think about Jim Cotta, and Kirk Thomas and those other kinds of films that were made.
Now, did he specialize in martial arts films?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
But
And
not,
he was a kickboxer by profession.
Okay.
And then I think he did stunts and he did like fight coordinating.
So
and
not
he
soft porn necessarily.
No.
That was his first venture.
No, this was there. He was hired strictly for his ability to kick people.
No, he did well at that.
Well, he did a great job. Like the action scenes were of him doing like the kicking and shit was
Right.
the best part.
That was the best part. As long as he didn't have to say anything, because his acting was
Right.
very good.
I thought his acting was really good.
I thought his acting was awful.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
it was
on.
pretty. It was
But
pretty
it was on
Poor
purpose.
faces.
Like that was the style and the cheese. And
We've seen him
everything.
in other things, and he wasn't quite as bad as that. So I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't mind him in it. Like it's not like any of it was like cringeworthy or anything.
Right.
Which I think
right.
they were intentionally overacting. in
I'm
this.
sure.
All of
Yeah.
well, there's some that
yeah.
overacted.
Well, we know most of these girls probably aren't.
Well, I wasn't even talking about the
originally
girls.
Yeah, I know,
I was talking
I know.
more of the
Doctor.
scientist, mad
But
scientist.
speaking,
Oh, yeah.
speaking of the girls, Robin Kelly was the actress who played Dale Ardor, who was the sort of the lead actress.
Well,
She was
she?
only
No.
in kind of small bits and pieces here and there. She only has 4 IMDb credits. And so that clearly wasn't her thing. Now, whether she had another career in the X-rated business is possible. I didn't go and research that end of it, but it would not surprise me because clearly she had 2 prominent talents
Right.
that was really the reason she was hired.
Wait, which one was she? Was she the
She was Dale, the girlfriend,
the girlfriend, the one
Yeah.
that got captured?
the one who gets
Okay.
captured. Right.
I mean, yeah.
So, and then we have Dr. Jerkoff, who's played by Tony Travis. He was actually in a bunch of stuff, including Die Hard with a Vengeance. Let's see.
Who was he in Die
Season
Hard
of
and
the
a
Hunted.
Vengeance?
Is he the mad
Yep.
scientist?
He was a he
He
was
was the Scot. No,
he
he
was
was
the
the mad
Scottish
scientist.
guy.
He was the Scottish scientist.
Oh,
he was the
he
good
was
guy scientist.
Playing like the Igor type.
No,
Right.
He was the
He was-
Scottish scientist.
he was
Okay.
he was the good guy
I
scientist.
enjoyed that.
The one with the
The
beard.
one that was like,
He was in a movie called Denounced.
he was chewing the scenery.
Yeah, he was a musician and a singer, and he did a whole bunch of stuff on Off-Broadway, and he was in an LA improv group called the Lunatics.
Well, he was well suited for that.
There you go. So, yeah, so that was him. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that the director Howard Zinn, when he made his 70s porn movies, he was putting them out as Harry Hopper. So
Harry Hopper.
there you go.
There's a name. There's a stage.
The Emperor Wang, who was the guy in the black getup before he finally gets unmasked, is William Dennis Hunt. Now, the funny thing is, he's the only actor who was in both the original Flash Gordon and the Flash Gordon 2
Gotcha.
Meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders thing. He's been in a bunch of stuff. For TV, he was in Plan 9. I mean, not Plan 9. He was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He was in LA Law. He was in Babylon 5. He was in Alias. He was in NYPD Blue. And movies, he was in Critters 3 and Dr.
Okay.
Giggles, if you remember him from that.
It says in this he was Evil Presence. That's what
Yeah,
his IMDb.
that's
Okay.
that's him.
But that's the same character as the Emperor guy, I guess.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
He was until he's unmasked.
And then he's masked, and then he's what was his name? He was
Emperor
Penis
Wang.
Brain, I thought. Or
well,
whatever.
they refer to him as Emperor Wang, and then somebody else calls him Penis Brain.
Okay.
But and then we have Rotunda Hooters, who is the leader of the cheerleaders.
That's right.
She is Morgan Fox, and I believe that's her only credit. She pretty much was a Playboy.
Playboy.
She looked
Okay.
like one. Okay.
Yeah, and there were a number of Playboy playmates,
I
or
was gonna say. looked
folks
like
who
it.
pretty much had no other
Right.
experience other than being hot in a magazine,
Right.
which is fine. That's cool, and no shame. I did not kept the name of the guy who played the Igor-like assistant evil scientist. That guy, talk about over the top.
Of course.
Wow.
But I mean,
Was he Dr. Atombaum?
Yeah,
Is that,
probably.
Okay, he's
Mr.
Neil
Masturbate-
Grossman.
the
Neil
Masturbator.
Grossman. Wow.
And he's only done one other thing. He played himself in a
Played himself.
politicking with Larry King. He was a guest on Larry King.
Oh my God.
I'm wondering
Was
what
it
he.
talking about this movie?
Yeah, we like to think so.
I would hope
Like,
so. I don't know what the politics of Flesh Gordon is, but
Right.
But this movie was made for $1.5 million, and it pulled in $1.3 million. So I mean,
Well, it's probably made its money back by now.
sure.
Right, if people are still buying
And
the
I
DVD.
and who knows if he still has the rights.
See it.
Right.
I don't know who's got the rights to it, but clearly somebody's
Somebody's
selling
getting
it.
something off of the DVDs.
So Sarah, do you think you can encapsulate sort of quickly what the plot is of this particular movie?
The plot is a villain who had some sort of work accident where he became flaccid, so he wanted to make everybody flaccid with the radiation, the flaccid radiation. So basically he wanted to kill everybody's boners and make every woman a cold bitch.
Ooh!
Yeah, so then they captured this Flesh Gordon guy who apparently could withstand the radiation.
This is the cheerleader chicks from
the cheerleader chicks
Cosmic
captured
High.
him because apparently he can still get it up. So,
And that he did.
Yeah, the whole movie is basically just him trying to stop this flaccid ray so the world doesn't go flaccid. And there's so much in between. I mean, we have talking poos, we have a spider boob lady.
Talking
We have some
poos.
sort of leprechaun guy for some reason just thrown in there. We got a little octopus who likes to eat pussy. Like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
there's a boner.
there's
Octopus
No, but
there's
there's-
BDSM dog guys walking around with cupcakes and cream
There
pies.
was the
and
scrotum creature.
there's a
scrotum
scrotum
creature.
creature
Right.
who is basically a drag queen, and
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
Asteroids.
Yeah,
That was my
and
favorite.
the
yeah.
asteroids that
The
farted.
farting asteroid.
Like I said,
Yeah.
you kind of need to see this movie for yourself, and if you go on Amazon, you can buy it.
It was
Because,
every
oh my
12-year-old's bad
It
joke.
was like somebody who just hit puberty wrote this movie. They like casted all the playmates they saw in the magazines. They wrote this movie, and it was just flaccid wieners and tits.
So,
Even at 12 years old, I was more sophisticated than the writing in this
I would
film.
like to think so.
You all would like to think so, but I don't know.
I don't know. This is probably something I would write.
Right? It's something I would write.
What do you think, G. Larry?
I liked it.
the movie's not for the faint of heart. If you're
Right.
squeamish,
Or the
beware.
faint of fart.
Your jaw's gonna
It's
drop.
just-
You're gonna cover
yeah.
your mouth. You're gonna go, "Oh my god,
You'll
did they
probably
just do
pass
that?"
out.
But
You're
gonna
gonna
laugh.
clutch your pearls.
Right, but you're gonna
Yeah.
laugh.
Like we said earlier, G. Larry Butler probably felt like really like ashamed watching this.
I felt ashamed watching. You saw me over
I
there,
loved
like,
it.
oh,
I
God.
was making
I
dick jokes
forgot
left
how
and right. It was right in my
bad
I know.
ballpark.
It was
See, you
funny.
and Rebecca would get along
Right,
really
those
well.
are the jokes I make every
yeah.
day. Oh, and there's chickens in it too. And this one chicken got laid by Flesh Gordon, had a cigarette afterwards, cracked her the fuck off.
That was the best part.
That was one of the best parts
best
about
part
the movie. Is
of
that
the-
chicken smoking that cigarette,
I
going,
forgot
"Yeah."
about that.
I remember like the funniest thing was them saying those two over there going, did Flesh Gordon just fuck that chicken? And then right after they said that, the chicken was smoking a cigarette.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's like, "You know what? It wasn't that bad."
I forgot about that, and when I saw it again, I'm like, oh Christ, I remember.
He had to do it to save the world.
It was-
Otherwise, every man would have a flaccid penis if he
It was
didn't
my
fuck that
favorite
chicken,
part of the
so-
movie. And you have to wonder, which was the worst part assignment for him?
Right.
The chicken or the queen?
Right? He ended up having to sleep with a really overweight queen, but you know,
Sleep with.
Yeah.
Once again, he was
Yeah.
doing it
They
to
should have
save the
taped
world.
that bag over her head. 'Cause
Right.
She got out of it.
Yep.
They need a double bag.
Oh, she
on that
needed,
one.
oh yeah, double bagger. She
Oh
needed,
man.
Maybe
she
plastic
wanted to
instead of
see
paper.
who it was that was giving her more pleasure
Right.
than her husband.
And
Yeah.
man, oh man, did she do that reverse cowboy on him?
And she sounded like Roseanne.
I know.
Was there
Right.
bars in this?
Right.
I really thought that she was the same actress who played in Angel Heart, and I looked her up, and it's not. But she sounded, her voice was exactly like that one character on the beach in Angel Heart, but it turns out it's not her.
She was a funny character because she had basically gimps following her around with cupcakes.
Right, feeding her.
Feeding her
And you guys
cupcakes
were
and
saying you
pies.
wanted
Mark,
something
her,
like that.
I believe,
Right? I want a gimp following me around with cupcakes. I'd
I
be okay
believe
with
the
that.
actress's name, Maureen Webb, and she's only acted in a few things, but she's primarily a casting director. and she went by the nom de plume Deluxe. That was like her actress name in the in the credits.
That makes total sense.
But otherwise, she is a casting director, and she cast for like 50 movies.
Yeah, I'm sure she does not put this on her resume.
Right?
So somewhere along the line, somebody talked her into doing this.
You know what?
Just let her go.
I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna blackmail her and I'm gonna say, "You cast me in a movie, or I'll let everybody know you were, even though everybody should already know, you were the queen. You were Queen Frigid."
Queen Frigid.
Queen Frigid and all them cold bitches.
And the thing is that the poor jokes just come one after another, after another, after another. I mean,
Some zingers in
it's
there, man.
it's definitely one of those kind of approaches where we're gonna spray the wall and whatever sticks. Whatever
And it's
doesn't.
sticky too.
So
Yeah.
before we go into more
That's
stuff,
my favorite part.
What?
Where all the cum comes down the chute. sliding down.
They have to
Like,
slide down a vagina water slide full of cum, basically.
As you do.
And then this big titty woman gives them a towel and dries them off. And,
Yeah.
then they,
For no
and
reason.
then they
Come
find
on.
a bar called the G Spot where all those guys turn into babies and basically were in diapers and sucking
As
on
you
boobs.
do, you know.
Yeah, But like the guy said, it's weird having men there because they usually can't find the G Spot.
oh, that was a good
And
point.
did you notice the accent on the big titty woman
Yeah.
wiping off the cum?
They all had accents, but she definitely had more of a Texas accent.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a guy with an Australian accent in there. So
Oh, yeah.
there's all
You're
sorts of
giving
stuff.
Texas a
Well-
bad name.
I don't know if that's a bad name. I mean, she did dry him off. She was
That's
very
true.
friendly.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Texas hospitality and all, giving y'all a towel.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Exactly. Now, Paul, I have to ask you a question.
Oh, yeah.
How the fuck did you find this movie?
I
Like,
told you, man.
Yeah.
I saw this years ago back when I was looking for weird movies in the VHS store.
Yeah.
And, when I saw the title, how
Right.
could you pass that up?
Right.
Was
Well,
it
we don't
behind
wanna
the? Was it behind the beats?
Yeah, it was one of those movies. Back in the day, you used to have to separate.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you had an adult section. You would have an adult section, but then you would also have these other movies that
Right.
were more adult oriented, but weren't
Right.
necessarily
They're not
porn
exactly
movies.
X-rated. Like
But-
they're X-rated, but they're not XXX
Right,
rated.
but a lot of the movies I ended up doing on exploitation sleaze cast, things like Der Toten King
Right.
and Necromantique and stuff like that. Some of the harder kinds of stuff usually were kept aside. Anything that was more than an R rating.
Yeah.
And
I saw the cover art on the DVD, and if it's the same that was on the VHS tape, I'm sure that
Probably.
caught your eye too, because
There you
they
go.
had all the creatures and all the women on it. So it's like I would look at that cover and be like, I kind of want to take this home.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It's like when you go to the movie store and you see those pirate movies that are like porn. It's like, oh, it's Pirates of the Caribbean, but with boobs. It's like,
Right.
oh, it's Flash Gordon, but with boobs.
Right.
It's like, okay.
And see, that's
I
the
don't
Date
like
problem.
horror.
That's the problem with cover art today, like posters.
Some of it
They're
doesn't
all the
look
same.
anything
Some
like
of them
it.
just don't look
like
interestingly
it. No.
enough.
And most of them are cookie cutter where they're the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want to spend the money on
No,
an
they
eye-catching
don't.
graphic. They
Right.
just don't care.
Yeah.
But so we talked a little bit about the ridiculousness of the plot and some of the crappy acting and some of the good acting, but what about the production? That's really where this movie stands out.
definitely.
Yeah, it shined in its production value.
Yeah, you said how much was the budget?
Budget was $1.5 million, and I'm willing to bet at least half of that went to the production,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
to the sets, to the
Yeah.
designs.
I think
some of the
almost all of
creatures.
it.
Like-
Almost all of it.
like-
Remember
all-
back in those days, $1.5 million was a lot more.
Yeah.
than
Like I said,
1990?
all
Sure.
the
At least
props, all the
twice.
creatures, all of that were really well made in my opinion for back then.
Right.
And I'm sure a good budget went to hiring the playmates too.
William
Yeah.
Zelm, must have made some money,
Yeah.
as you did back in the day, by do all these awful porn movies that he made.
Right.
You mean
So-
Howard Zelm or something?
Yeah, Howard Zelm. He must have had some extra money because I don't know who else is going to finance
That's
this
what I was
movie.
going to say.
I want to
think
see
he
the
was
cut scene and the bloopers and the commentary on this.
Yeah.
man.
Seriously.
I do. I want to see the behind the scenes where they have to cut and they're just laughing at each other making jokes.
I want the Blu-ray with the commentary. That's
Yes.
what I want.
Yes,
I'm
I want the
dying to
commentary.
hear that.
Somebody's
Does it exist?
IMDb review starts off with not really the worst movie, but definitely one of them.
I mean, it's bad. It's got a lot of good points, but it's, yeah. There ain't no way that any traditional movie studio is going to touch this with a 10-foot pole or a 100-foot pole.
The co-writer Doug Frisbee played Constipation 2.
There
You
you
were
go.
joking about that earlier.
Right,
Like, who's
everybody's
going to
got
put their name as constipation
Right,
too?
like
The
your
writer-
IMDb resume is like, I was constipation 1 and I was constipation 2 in this Flash Gordon movie.
There you go. There you go.
And this was the last film directed by Howard
I
Zinn.
know. So it's like he had his moment of glory and he rode off into the sunset. But I believe he's still alive.
He's still alive.
So I'm, it's like I've done the best
he's
thing I can
impotent.
do. I've done my masterpiece. Now we can
I've
retire.
retired.
Right. It's like a.
I wonder what he's
Quentin
doing
Tarantino
now.
thing. Making money.
And put it in the diapers and in an institution somewhere.
There you go. As we all will be.
Yeah.
But-
Selling fast.
Right,
Wow.
there's only one left of the double pack.
But talk about flying under the radar.
Right.
Most of my friends never heard of this film, and unless you wandered into that particular VHS store
Right.
and decided to go and the adventure behind the beads to see what was there, and then plunk down the money to summon up the courage to bring something like that home.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, it was made in 1990, so me and Cody would have been 2 years old when this movie was made. So we definitely have, in this long period of time, have never run into it, and I wouldn't have if it weren't for you. So thank you.
Of
You have
course,
some
of
catching up
course.
to do.
Oh, we
Yeah.
do. We really do.
Oh, you know me.
A
I've
lot
got
of the greatest movies were made like the year we were born.
thousands of these kinds of movies.
Oh my god, I found some interesting information.
Okay, here we go.
So Howard T. Zinn, after he was done with this stuff, after making his last adult feature film called Naughty Network in 1981, Zinn began to focus on other endeavors, including a series of vocabulary training audio cassettes called Word Bank and Word Builders.
Oh dear.
In the 90s, Zinn edited 2 blocks of historic cartoons. The first is Golf in the Comic Strips.
Okay.
Was released in 1997. It collected golf-related cartoons from 1897 to 1995 and featured a foreword by Bob Hope. 2 years later, a collection called Lawyers in the Comic Strips followed. In September 2017, director Christian Genzel began production on the documentary Finding Planet Porno, which details Zinn's life and career. Interviewees, including Zinn himself and Flash Gordon actors Jason Williams, William Dennis Hunt, and Bruce Scott. So look out for that. 'Cause
There
I know
you
you
go.
like all those
Yeah.
documentaries.
Oh yeah, I love documentaries about stuff like this because it's fascinating. I want to hear about this kind of thing. I want to hear what was going through their brains besides cocaine.
Right? And
And
I'm
LSD.
assuming at least 10% of that budget was for cocaine.
There you go. Yeah, well, it's just
Gotta
like
have
I
enough for the
work
whole
for that
cast, so.
I keep thinking of that Mystery Science Theater thing in Hobgoblins where they're like, it's the 80s, do a lot of coke and vote
Right.
for Ronald Reagan.
That's what they did. That's what they did in cutscenes.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the comparison to when they did the actual Flash Gordon movie in the 80s is interesting. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
think so.
Yeah, with Brian Blessed and
We know
Sam
what
Jones.
it is, but we have not seen it.
Oh, it's fun. It's very similar without all the sex jokes
Yeah.
and all that, but it's visually similar.
Yeah, no, I can see where, what it's doing with it. And it has that serial vibe.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I dug that of this movie because, back in the 30s and 40s or whatever,
50s.
50s.
I grew up watching Flash Gordon.
Right.
There you go. So there you
Get
go.
The Dakota ring and send in for the cards and all that.
Oh man, wouldn't that be great for a Flash Gordon decoder ring?
Sure.
What if you had a
Nipples on it.
Ring! There you go!
There you go.
Oh my god, you
All
are a
right,
marketing
decoding that
genius.
pussy with your decoding
Why ain't
cock
you
ring.
rich? Huh?
Yeah, right. Why ain't you
So Larry,
We're
I've got to
gonna-
ask
we have
you
a patent
then.
on this. We patent this.
You grew up a fan of the
Well, not
original
Flash,
Flash
but
Gordon.
Flash, yeah.
So
Yeah.
how does you? I mean, this has got to feel different.
Quite a bit, yeah. I passed out after 3 minutes. But I kept waking up, periodically.
And seeing bits and pieces of
It's
it.
like, oh my God. Yeah, I was
But
mortified.
were you thinking about, my God, what have they done to my favorite movie?
I was thinking about slitting my wrist.
I kept looking back at you, and your face kept changing from different expressions.
I think my mouth was just hung open the whole time going, what?
Well, the good thing is, in my opinion, the good thing is that clearly they knew that this was going to be ridiculous nonsense, and they had fun with it.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if they had tried to do this straight, it would have been a disaster.
I'm just glad I watched this with other people,
Let's
so when I
hope
make
so.
jokes later referring to it, y'all know what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to use this material. I love it.
Outstanding. Now, a lot of the jokes fell flat too. I mean, there's a lot of groaners, there's a lot of horse shit, there's a lot of stupid stuff.
Sir, did you say? Are you saying that the jokes fell flaccid?
Yes, there were a number
Yeah.
of flaccid
Right.
jokes.
I think they overused the rim shot button enough to where it just kind of wore itself out.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
There's a lot of there's a lot of jokes that just kept. I mean, they kept trying their
The
hardest.
asteroids that
Right.
were the little asteroids
With the
of
butt
asses,
plugs. With the butt plugs,
asses
and
that
you
had
fired, like,
toxic gas.
20 of them. We
They
had
had
to
corked
watch
them up.
every one of them.
Let's not
Yeah.
forget the most lewd creature of it all, which was the octopus eater.
Yeah,
Yes.
the octopus.
Which
missed
I
that
was
one.
so sad when they threw that.
Right, when they
That
killed the
poor guy.
octopussy.
Was
Yeah.
that Maud Adams by any chance? Because I worked with her from Octopussy.
Oh,
That thing had a really big tongue. He was doing his
Yes.
best.
It's
he was
tremendous.
doing it. He couldn't get in there. I'm
It-
sorry.
Obviously
Circular.
it's a dig at Octopussy, but I've got to think too it's a dig at the Herbert West scene as well, that infamous scene.
Oh, from Reanimator?
Yes.
Maybe, but I mean, I guess because it was sort of like a face going in there and everything. But
Right.
it was sort of disturbing, but
And distasteful.
but it was cute.
I
It
think
had-
they made the prop and the actual octopus guy really well.
I know, it looked cute. It looked cute, so I
budget
want to like.
got put into making these critters and these monsters or whatever you want to call them actually look really cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
speaking of
Yeah.
disturbing, we have to talk a little bit about the shit boobs.
Oh yeah.
There were shit boobs.
Yeah.
Shit boobs?
So when they had
How did I miss that?
when they had to pass
Why
through,
didn't you wake me?
they had to pass through like what
colon?
they had to pass through. Yeah, they had to pass through an anus basically, and they ran into a bunch of poo. So you got a bunch of people dressed up in
Talking
costumes of
poos.
poo, and all the female poos had poo boobies.
As
There
you
was
do.
even a little child poo.
He was a little shit.
Yep,
Yeah.
a little shit. And all
Oh,
these
my.
poos, they had the crapteria, and all this, and
They
they
were
were
singing
cafeteria,
They
you know.
were trying to cook Flesh Gordon and his friends.
So that they could turn them into poop.
Right. They
Right,
could
because
eat
they
them,
were going to
digest
cook
them,
them,
and poop
eat them,
them out.
digest them, and turn them into poo creatures too.
As you do.
Which I don't know how that works.
It's
but-
like the assimilation of Mr. Hanky.
right?
I know.
Maybe Trey Parker and Matt Stone got their,
Right.
you know.
It wouldn't
But then,
surprise me.
but then the scientists used some sort of laxative to save
Laxative
the day.
gum.
Laxative gum. So all the shit was flushed out, and then they found a shit spaceship right when those cheerleaders showed up, and they flew out of there.
Yeah.
Were
They
you
flew out of
taking
the poop.
notes during that?
I was paying full attention. I loved
Great
it.
memory.
She loved it. I mean, she was going crazy with
Oh,
all
yeah,
that.
I was paying full attention.
I mean,
I loved it.
fair
I
fucks
would
to-
love to audition
to
and be cast
Howard-
in this movie.
Howard Zelm, he had a vision, and man, he stuck with it no matter what kind of weird tangent things went. I'm dying to know what he had to have been on something. It had to have
Oh,
been.
yeah.
If they made $1.3 million from this movie, they probably lost it all when X-Lax was mentioned because they were probably not a sponsor, so they probably sued them.
Well,
Oh, maybe.
maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
I think it's one of those situations where you can say things like X-Lax in the same way that you could say Kleenex.
Like,
even though
Right.
it's- everybody knows what that means.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not like product.
Do you want to
placement.
drink a Coke
Okay.
when you really mean a soda?
Right.
Okay.
I
don't
think
know
so.
if there's-
I don't know though.
If it had been a
bad press in terms of that.
If they'd been
That's
Pepto Bismol,
right, if
Right.
it had been
or
a
something.
huge Hollywood success and made a lot of money, yeah, they would have
Right.
gone
Yeah.
after them. But this flew under the radar.
I mean, it didn't even make its budget back. So,
No.
like,
So when are we
you know.
gonna make our own parody of this movie? Like,
See,
Oh, God.
that's what I'm saying.
I,
This is
Why would
awesome.
you, I mean, how could you parody a parody? Like this is pretty
I
much
don't
a
know.
parody.
I just I
We can make
No,
the third
you
can
one.
make
I
the
want to be
sequel.
Because-
I want to be cast as either one of them cold bitches
because
or rotunda
you
or something.
make it to one up this one.
right.
That's what it is.
Or we do a little skit, just
Because
like a little 10
I,
minute skit.
while I have not seen any of Howard Zillm's porn movies, based on the titles, like Hot Cookies and some of these other things, I get the feeling he made a lot of silly, ridiculous porn movies, and I think this was his way. Why he did all this was sort of to one up all of those and just kind of go all out. Well,
These are our Halloween costumes for
only
next year.
way to
What, the
approach
shit poop, the boob.
You
shit
can be
poops?
one of the
the
consummation
only
number
way
one.
to approach another movie like this is to one up all that. So you got to think of something that's even more over the top.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you could do it, but yeah, who would write it? I don't know.
Not me. I'm not. Maybe Sarah.
In my
Sarah could write
dreams
it.
tonight, I'm gonna play all of this, and I'm gonna put myself in that movie.
Please write something with poo boobs. We need more poo boobs. In our
Y'all are
lives.
so fascinated with the shit part of this movie. I'm
I know,
fascinated with
I'm
the hot
not.
It
Playboy
was all
models
over the
walking around with
place.
their gimps.
It was all over the place.
Yeah, I was more into the boobs. I'm sorry.
I was more into the
But shit.
Playmates because I've been following, like, I watch all the Girls Next Door and all the Playmate stuff. Like, I auditioned for Playboy once. I loved Playmates.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't get in, but I did. It was like 12 years ago.
Wow.
But it's
Did
like-
you audition actually for Hugh?
No, what they do is you basically go to the casting places, and this one was in Houston, and all the girls go. You actually pay them to audition.
Oh,
Right?
boo.
So they take a bunch of photos of you, and then they email you back if you get back to the next round and
That's a
stuff like that.
scam.
It kind of is. It really was. But I could at least say that I did it.
Mm-hmm.
You
That you
know?
auditioned for.
Yeah. But I definitely was a sore thumb in there with all those other
that
girls.
sucks.
You
But
know? But yeah, but it's like I always loved, like, even when I was a young kid, my dad had Playboy magazines locked in the back of one of his cars, and I would stare at him through the window like, I want to be one of those girls. So, like, I grew up wanting to be one of those girls. So I was really fascinated by watching them through this whole movie, because I'm like, I could look at their bodies and I could tell those are Playmate bodies.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I could
There are
tell.
a number of them in there, and so
Like,
there you go.
Yeah, you could
There's
tell, like, those are Playmate bodies.
there's
like,
your career
Yeah.
move. You go
Right?
from being in Playboy to being
know.
in,
Right.
Flash Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders.
You may
Right?
have lucked out.
I think you're okay. I
Oh
think
no,
you're
no,
good.
definitely now seeing where that business went,
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely like dodged a bullet there.
Right.
That
I
is
mean, yeah.
white slavery
Yeah.
at its worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those girls are used and
Oh
abused
yeah,
so
especially
much.
like when you watch the live reality shows now, it's so much different than I watched them when I watched them when I was younger. I was like, I want to be these girls. I watch them now. I'm like, oh my god, I definitely am glad I wasn't.
And
Yeah.
yet none of
Yeah.
them wore a poo
Dodged the
suit
bullet.
or had poo makeup on
Right?
their faces.
But they definitely caught my attention in this movie. I was like, oh, okay, I like this.
Yeah,
one.
there were 3 cosmic cheerleaders.
Right.
What did you think of them? There's
I-
like a white one, an Asian one, and
Right,
an
they did have
African-American
one of every flavor,
Yes.
you know, and the pink one's shirt definitely was a little shorter than all the rest. They even in one scene had one of the girls hold it down because it kept popping up and showing her boobs, you know, so they cut it a little shorter than the others. They had the nice little, like, 80s thongs, you know, that went all the way up. Everybody had them, even the gimps.
There was a lot of nudity. There was a lot
There
of boobs,
was.
but there was a lot of male nudity too. You saw a lot of male
there-
butt,
Right, all the males had thongs as
a
well.
lot of hairy buttocks floating
Yep.
around.
There was some chest hair being ripped out
I
there.
think
you
there
know.
may have even been some dangle.
Yeah, there was a little bit of butt hair that was shown on accident. You know.
You saw some hole action.
Yep.
Yep, there
Yeah.
you go. There
Yeah.
you go. When that's without even getting plugged.
Yeah,
Right.
A
it-
giant ape with a huge penis, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
there was.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yes, we forgot that character.
Right?
This is the
Urinating,
beginning.
like
Yeah.
it was that he's sitting on a
It was like
planet.
this big King Kong type.
It was
monkey.
King Dong.
King
Yes.
Dong,
Empire
yeah,
State
King,
Building.
King
King
Dong.
Dong with a King Dong.
Yeah, King Dong,
Dong.
who worked on the
Peeing-
movie set that Flash
peeing
Gordon was
off
working
of the
on.
Empire State
He
Building.
had a giant swinging wang, and then some
man.
girl accidentally got shot up his butt.
As you do.
And then
And then the
and then
spaceship
he got
flew
out
right
and
through
he,
his
yeah,
stream.
he climbed up on a building and started peeing, and the spaceship flew right under the stream.
Because of course,
The
why
stop
would you avoid
animation.
that?
Right.
was
Well, if
masterful.
you're gonna make King Dong, you're gonna use him a little bit.
Yeah, and you're gonna have it so it like sprays, but it literally looked like when you're going through a car wash.
Right.
So I was like, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
They're getting a car wash.
And it looked like one of many stop animation, claymation kinds of
Right.
things. There was a
There was
lot of
that.
claymation.
I remember when I
Yeah.
first saw the first claymation, I was like, I thought it was stop motion. I said, but it was
Yeah.
like, you're like claymation. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
another one.
And
When
Then another
you
one.
can see like they tried to match up the film so that
Yeah.
the actors were reacting to the claymation. It just
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah,
didn't jibe up.
When the movie first started and he was basically acting as himself, there was these claymation characters, these aliens, and they were pretty cool looking. I thought the whole movie was going to be like that, which I'm kind of glad it wasn't. But it was a fun little taste in the
It's
beginning.
interesting because I know our audience out there has seen a lot of Mystery Science Theater.
Mm-hmm.
That beginning thing with Mystery Science Theater with the crappy spaceship and the stuff on strings, that's what the movie was. The entire movie was built with that.
Yeah.
With that level special effects, little sparklers with fire coming out of the rear ends of all the rockets.
Yep.
You could see strings on things, moving things around. But they used a lot of models, but a lot of the models were intricate. I was very surprised at
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah.
They had models and then they had Playboy models.
Right? And
You
all
know?
kinds of models.
Some of the models almost reminded me of Actium Maximus, some of the
Oh,
models
God,
that
don't.
they used there.
Don't
You
talk
know?
about that movie.
So yeah, Actium Maximus lacked some of the fun that was in this particular
Yeah,
film.
that was, you fell asleep during that. I fell asleep during Actium Maximus. You would definitely fall asleep during
It
that.
was a
sure.
trauma movie.
This felt like a trauma movie.
Oh God, yeah, I'm
But
surprised.
Oh,
Trauma
yeah.
wants this movie, I'm sure. Like, they're like, we gotta get our hands on this
Yeah,
movie.
Lloyd probably got some
Oh
pointers.
yeah, Lloyd Kaufman must know that this movie exists. But
yeah,
this is Howard Zillm's masterpiece, so he may not have wanted anybody else to touch it. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who owns the rights or whatever. And you said that it goes for like $65 or
For
whatever.
But that's
both
for
of them.
both. of them.
both.
Yeah, it's like
and
30,
you said there's only
30
one
for,
left or
For
whatever.
the double pack, there's only one left. And,
Yeah.
for,
And you're gonna buy it, right?
I don't have any money, but somebody wants to buy it for me. I'll give you my address.
I'm dying to know if that is Vinegar Syndrome, because this is right up Vinegar Syndrome's dark, scary alley. I'm dying.
If
to know.
not, they should be able to go and get this movie because this
Yeah.
is something that they would like.
They do
Absolutely.
have the single DVD for like $25.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. So you can buy this movie. I mean, and if you go to our website in a few in a month or so or whatever, when he updates it, he'll let you know all the ways to buy it.
20 minutes in, you were like, "I'm gonna buy this movie. I'm gonna buy this movie."
I liked it. I mean, I was enjoying it. I was having a ball. Like it was. I think I just kept going, what the fuck am I watching?
Right?
now?"
I think this is one of those movies that might be fun if you're having a party and everybody's smoking a little bit.
Yes.
You pop it in and
Yes.
you just see
Or
see
drinking
their
or whatever,
reaction.
and you're just
Oh, yeah.
having a
The
party.
first time I
Yeah.
watched this by myself, and it wasn't nearly as much fun. And then it wasn't until you bring in your friends and you torment
Right.
them.
You were saying that I wouldn't like this movie the second time.
And
you
that's
know?
the thing.
Yeah.
It's not quite as funny.
Right, it's that first
more time
immediate
you watch it.
reaction. That
It's
shock
like you
factor
already know
reaction.
what's gonna happen.
Right,
and
yeah, you
everything.
need
After
that
a while,
shock
the jokes,
factor that when you first watch it.
the jokes aren't as funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they're not as fresh.
Yeah.
But I think it's funnier when you watch it with friends because you do get
Yes.
that Mystery 3005 where you all are just like making your own jokes at it in the commentary. Like that's where it's at.
Yeah, which I mean is fun, but if you're watching it by yourself, we have to watch a lot of these movies by ourselves to test to whether or not we want to
Right.
put them on our show, and we'll be like we'll watch them by ourselves and be probably at least I will be like, "Oh, this is like I don't think I could watch this by myself,
Right,
you know.
right.
And
Yeah.
even this movie, I don't think I'd want to watch it by myself.
Yeah,
like,
watch it with friends.
Yeah, I would love to be like Paul, where Paul just watches and see keeps looking back to see if everybody's laughing.
Right, there's
like
a
this.
good test.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the whole thing with the chicken smoking, I had totally forgotten that. And when I saw it again, I'm like, oh God, how could I forget?
It was
it's my
funny.
favorite
Well,
moment in the
the
movie.
spaceship doesn't run unless the chickens are satisfied.
Exactly.
And-
Well, they
Just
got
like
it
our
to take
planet.
off in the beginning by both the pilots sucking on this
Right.
mechanical tit.
right. True.
So, sucking on mechanical tits and fucking chickens.
That's
That's
how
the
the
old
spaceship
And
flag.
that still hasn't
Yeah.
hit everything. Remember, they landed on a planet of all of these hills that had nipples on them.
Right.
that
Oh
had,
yeah, the Mammary Mountains.
the Mammary Mountains.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was more like mounds and mountains, but it was hills with nipples that squirted milk, and one of them had a nipple ring, and that's where they met the scrotum
The
monster.
scrotum creature,
Right.
which you said was, you think it was.
Well, it was obviously a male. They referred to it as a he, but it was dressed as a female, so I'm assuming
It
it
had
was a
lipstick.
drag scrotum monster.
I don't know. It had a female voice.
Kind of.
It had kind of like an overly done Faye kind of.
Right.
I think it was trying to make a gay joke, is what I think it was trying to go
So you think it was supposed to be
It was a male monster. I mean,
Yes.
it was
a
a dick and balls.
cross-dressing.
He was a dickhead.
I mean, he didn't have clothes, but had rouge, eyeliner, makeup, and stuff. You know, like drag queen.
And there's a joke that you guys didn't even get. Because remember, it took out something and it threw it over there, and it turned out it was soap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get it at first. I was like, I have some dial for you, and threw some soap. And Flesh Gordon went to pick it up, and she tried to ram him in the ass.
Yep, and he's like standing there like,
Right?
and I'm like, oh.
We didn't even get
he
it at first. He dropped the soap.
We didn't even get it. I mean, you had to
Right?
point that out. I don't think I would have got that.
It took us a minute to get it.
I don't
and
even
then
think
we
I would have
finally
got it if you didn't say
And even
anything.
then, everyone was just like, oh.
Yeah, that's just... See, those are groaners that, like, the whole
Right.
movie does, you know?
Right.
And the whole time where he's, like, on top of the whatever that thing is. Or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah, he was
and he's,
like,
like,
on the
all
dick,
touching
like,
and
rubbing
everything.
it.
I was like, oh, God, it's going to shoot out.
Right?
And it's going to, like, you know... But it did shoot out into the, like, fucking...
Yeah, it is
slide.
the little vagina slide thing. And then even at the end when they're saving the planet with the flaccid ray, what they used to save the planet was a prophylactic that was so strong it stopped the flaccid ray. So they put a condom on the flaccid ray to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, and just for a second, what about, did we mention the assistant, the assistant evil doctor, who's Dr. Atom Bomb? His
Yeah.
performance,
Right.
you will never see a more over the top performance.
It was
by
like
anyone.
a Beetlejuice Christopher Lloyd hybrid
On
of just
crack.
this mad
Yeah.
scientist. Oh yes.
Oh, like the Riddler and Joker and all of them
right
from
in this,
Batman.
hospital, in this hospital gown where you can see his
Wow.
butt.
Did you
Wow.
like it or dislike it?
I hated it so much that I loved it.
Oh, okay.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was
You
so
loved to hate
bad.
it.
It was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I enjoyed it myself.
My goodness. I mean, you're a professional actor. What does it take to just sort of throw every instinct or every bit of learning you've ever had and just go for it like
Scrap your inhibitions. Just go for it. Just be as silly as you want to be.
Lots of cocaine.
And I've done that.
So
Where
would
they
you
said,
play
"There's
that?
no
You've
hold
done
barred."
that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of places, like I did Beetleborgs. And when I went on for the audition, you know, I was just no holds barred, because a lot of people told me, you're never going to make it in this town. This is the 90s. You're a 50s actor because you do stuff that like Jackie Gleason would do and Red Skelton. And so I did it for these guys and the producers, and they looked at each other and they go, can you take that up a couple notches? In other words, they loved it. So
Nice.
they were just
Yeah,
jealous.
I mean, let's
So they
face
hired
it.
me on the spot.
Al Purplewood has a few moments where it's a little bit over the top, but
Oh,
I
God.
thought, my God, this is unbelievably.
Well, that's how
over
I
the
got
top.
the role of Al
Be-
Purplewood.
Beetleborgs, though. Did you work with Adam Rifkin on that? Was that who you worked with?
What, for Beetleborgs?
Yeah, for Beetleborgs.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't remember
jeez.
the name, but
Adam
it was-
Rifkin and them
It
worked
was the
on
last
that. That was-
episode. I played Rudy McDougal, the comic publisher, and I had my brain sucked by the brain sucker.
As you do.
Oh.
And it was just, oh my God.
That just sounds
That
so.
was
I need to watch that
hilarious.
episode. Beetleborgs used to be one of my favorite like kids shows or whatever. Like, it's like Power Rangers and all
Yeah,
that.
they
but,
were
like
they used
more.
the same people.
Yeah.
The same people.
But you know, where there may have been, 30 seconds here or there of Al Purplewooding himself.
Yeah.
Purple Woody.
That man,
That
I mean,
sounds
the
scary.
whole his
Yeah.
whole performance was like that. Just so.
Well, when I
over the
did
top.
Pan Man, that was a complete. Every
Well,
scene
Pan
I was
Man,
in,
yeah.
I chewed the scenery.
Yeah.
In fact, Elvis the Alien just reviewed it and gave it total thumbs up. I don't know if you know who that is, but it's all over the nation right now. Pan went 10 years later.
Nice.
It's become a sleeper hit.
Nice.
And he kept saying, like, Larry Butler, every scene he was in, my God, he was just too expressive.
Sometimes
But
that happens.
He liked it.
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is the king of going way, way over the top, and
Yeah.
yet somehow making it perfect. I don't
Yeah.
know how that you can do that, but he can.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it
certain
works.
movies.
Oh,
Most of the time, most actors can't do that and get away with it.
Nicolas Cage was my 15-year-old crush.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Is he still your crush now?
I mean, not as much, but like he set a precedent for my horrible dating life for a while.
Was it Face Off?
No, Con Air.
Oh,
I watched
okay.
Con
yeah.
Air when I was in high school, and I fell in love with him and John Malkovich and Steve
Malkovich.
Buscemi and all of them. And I'm like, these are the type of guys I like.
Oh God.
There you go.
Steve Buscemi.
Well, which was the one that we did? We did.
Vampire. God damn it.
I know. I'm kidding.
Something vampire.
Something bites.
What?
Is it bites? Love bites or something?
No,
like
no,
that?
no, no. Are you talking about the Nicolas Cage vampire,
Yeah, the
vampire
one that we
movie?
did.
It's
God,
You're
what
gonna-
happens when you get old? You can't remember stuff.
Tell me about
it's
it.
Gonna, it's gonna happen. In a
Just
second.
gonna happen.
Hold on,
That
let
should
me
do
look it
Once
up.
Bitten with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's not really an indie
No.
movie though.
No.
Like we could do
No.
it for like maybe for like Film Freaks or something, but not for here. Is a Kiss of a Vampire or
Yeah, Vampire's Kiss.
Vampire's Kiss?
Vampire's Kiss. Yeah, have you seen that?
I actually haven't, because he's done so
Oh,
many
right.
movies. I've seen like 80%
If
of
you've
them.
ever seen all the memes where he's going nuts with his
Right.
eyebrow, they're all coming
Okay.
from that.
I need to
movie.
watch that one, because
Yes.
there's still a few that I haven't seen just because he takes almost any role. So he's done so many movies.
Right.
But,
Well,
you know.
this is
Right.
this is the famous. This is the one
Okay.
that everybody said. Okay, Nick Cage is a little crazy over that. This movie cemented him as being the king of way over the
Way
top.
over the top.
But it worked. It worked perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And very rare can you find somebody who can make that kind of a commitment
Yeah.
and has the talent to actually pull it off.
Yeah.
And man, what stones you've got to have to do that. I would never be. I mean, I'm weird. I'm crazy, but I couldn't do that. Just amazing. So fair enough to that actor. He was just amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's done that with the bees, you know, and
Oh, the
the Wicker
bees!
Man.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
he-
over.
Not the
he-
bees.
He goes over dramatic and over
He
the
does.
top,
He
and
does.
and he loves that shit. And I think
He commits.
he picks movies these days that he can top himself on, you know,
Well,
because even Face Off had a little bit of his
Yeah.
overacting.
I just watched The Color Out of Space, which is really good, by the way.
It's
Richard
fantastic.
I put it on the other day, but I put it on, unfortunately, when I was tired. So it's like I was really getting in, like watching the first part of it. And I was like, I was interested, and then I fell asleep. So I gotta
Yeah,
put it back on.
he's kind of holds back for the first half of
Yeah.
the movie, and then the second half he's the Nicolas
He's
Cage
Nicolas Cage.
we all
Yeah.
come to love.
I gotta replay it because
It's really good.
I only got 5 minutes into it.
Oh
and
yeah,
I
in
fell
the
asleep,
beginning,
so.
it's not really about him anyway,
No,
and then it becomes
no. Yeah.
when it becomes about him. Oh boy!
And I love me some Richard Donner. He's one of my favorites. You know, he's awesome.
But this movie, I definitely, I think I enjoyed it the most out of everybody. And I wouldn't mind buying it. I wish it wasn't so expensive, but, you know, I would definitely show it to other people, put it on my
Alright.
shelf.
Well, we have come to that point in the show where we have to start talking about a score. So
Oh boy!
here at Indie Film Cafe, we have the stinkometer by which we score our movies, where the lowest score has only a little bit of stink, and the higher the score is a whole big fat steaming pile of stink. So if you think it's not very good, you would give it a higher score, and if it gets really good, you give it a low score. And, 1 to 10, and then we can do a half step if you're feeling kind of subtle, 4.5, 5.5, that kind of a thing. Now, we're only going to take 3 scores, but I'm going to let everybody give their score, because we all enjoyed this particular movie, and
I enjoyed it.
I'm dying to see what kind of scores we're going to generate. So I'm going to start off with Sarah.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 2 though, because like
Wow.
I would give it a 1, but it was ridiculous. But I honestly I enjoyed it. I really did. I laughed. I was so suspenseful. My mouth dropped open. I thought it was the cast was into it. They were fun. Like the script was fun. It just was joke after joke after joke. Like it had me rolling. I didn't pick up my phone really through the entire thing. I was just into it.
I didn't
and
have my phone either.
I would show it to
Surprise.
other people. Like, I just thought it was titillating.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect word for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Cody, you're next.
I would say a 4. It kept my attention. It gave me genuine reactions. I laughed. I was constantly nudging the person next to me, just hey, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So it was good. So I'd say 4.
it definitely is funner to watch with your sexual partner, because then you can make all the jokes to them going, I do that at home. It's hilarious.
Nice. Larry.
Well, I was pretty much shocked out of my mind.
That's
So
fine.
I
That's
would have
cool.
given it a much worse score, but because of the things that were just mentioned, I think maybe I'll even it out with a 5.
Wow.
That's neutral.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Well, because
But I
like
want
I
to
said,
thank you for this religious experience. I'll never forget you for this.
well, 'cause like I
You
said,
know I always find something extra special for you.
well, like I said, they did good with the props and all of that too. So you can't base your score just
Right.
on
That's-
the script.
That's
you know?
why I'm
Yeah.
totally balanced.
And this time we didn't have your 14-year-old daughter watching it.
Yes,
No,
that's
definitely
a
not.
good
Not at
thing.
No, I made her. Well, didn't make, but I did not realize a movie that we picked out for G Larry Butler and his daughter Bonnie in the was the third season, last season, was a movie with a lot of sex and nudity and stuff, and
Awkward.
Dope.
very awkward.
Yeah.
And
Awkward.
She was horrified.
yeah, so I was like, oh crap. So
You scarred her for
Oops.
life.
I
Well
did.
done, Moody.
Yes, but
Well-
this time we did not have her
She
for
said
this.
she forgives you, but
Oh, okay.
I'd never
Oh.
come back.
Yeah, she'll never come. Well, probably not. But that's okay.
What would be
No.
your rating on
Yeah.
this one?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with an opposite rating than you guys. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
I've seen
okay.
a lot of
To each their
movies
own.
these
You've
days.
seen a lot more
There you
than
go.
I have. This is new for me, so I'm
yeah,
excited.
so I'm gonna have to give it an 8.
There you go.
And
Wow.
this is it.
Okay.
So this is why it is a very well put together movie. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this had some great sets. Well, I mean, not great sets, but fun sets. Fun monsters. The acting was not that great at times, especially the overacting.
Oh yeah.
The direction was just so goofy and immature and juvenile.
All on purpose.
All on purpose. Did feel like a 12-year-old wrote this, even though it was I think at
Listen to
the,
him. He's like,
at the time-
get off my lawn.
at the time he was like 50 years old or whatever. He was writing this stuff, so I don't know. So
Drugs and playmates.
exactly. So I sorry, I still have to give it an 8 because I just think it was pretty shitty.
Constipation number one
Yeah,
and two.
I have to say too. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because
Ooh.
this is like the 5th time I've seen this movie, and like I said, the jokes get flatter and flatter every time I see it. The fun that I get from this film is inflicting it on
Right.
others and seeing their reaction to it. I can't really watch this
Right.
one by
And I
myself.
can understand you watching it so many
yeah.
times and just being sick of it, And you watch a lot of movies too.
Right.
But for somebody who is inexperienced and as noob as me, it just brightened my eyes.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. There is a level of fun in this particular movie that helps it along, which is why I wouldn't give it a 10.
Right.
We've seen much worse than that, where it just was not
If
just
it wasn't
missing
so
the
funny,
fun factor.
it would get
The
a
Easter
yeah.
Bunny
it-
versus Santa Claus. Yeah,
If it wasn't so funny, it would have gotten a different score.
Right.
But it actually
Yeah.
kept
yeah,
it
that's
up.
right. It helped a lot. But
Well,
can I change my score?
But yeah, no, it was one of those movies where I think it did have some fun to it and some. I mean, it was fun the whole way through. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but I enjoy watching these kind of movies.
Right, right.
Like this is what we. We were talking about earlier that Paul likes to find things that I've never heard of or seen, and I like to find things that he's never heard of or seen. And I mean, this definitely was something that none of us, except for Paul, had seen. So, and Paul, had you only seen him once before?
Oh no, I'd seen it a few times.
Okay.
It had been a good while though.
Has Gary seen this?
I don't think he may have. I haven't shown it to him.
Okay. I don't think Gary seeks out movies unless you're showing it to him.
He has now. He does.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, you've turned him.
I have.
You've.
I've
poor
infected
Gary.
another person.
I'm sorry, Gary.
Oh, he loves it. Are you kidding?
Oh well, no, he loves it because you fucked him up, so make him do it. Sorry, Gary.
One of us.
I would honestly
God.
say this is one of the worst movies you never know you wanted to see.
Right.
There you
Perfect
go.
example of it. Yeah, it's. I was not expecting to actually. I mean, with the title, I knew sort of what I was getting myself into.
Right.
But aside from that, I wasn't like, oh my god, this is gonna be something I wouldn't have. I don't think if this came across my Amazon wish list thing, I wouldn't be like, I should go and buy that one.
It was a heavy trip.
And trust me when I say this, as far as experience goes, when you see this by yourself, it's a much different feeling than when you see it with a group. When you lose that party atmosphere, a lot of the humor just kind of falls flat, and it's just juvenile, like he was saying.
Watch it with your parents.
No.
I'd have to
watch it with your pearl-clutching friends.
Watch it with your friends, your lover.
Watch it with your pastor.
Yes.
Oh, no.
People who are easily offended. That will be a lot of fun.
There's too many women in it for that, Jonathan.
Oh God! So one of my friends' dad, when I was young, we were watching and this is gonna make you laugh, but the South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, and we were watching it in his dad's room because I guess the living room was taken. And his dad walked in. His dad's a very big Christian, guy or whatever. Walks in, sits down, and turns the movie off for us. Says, no, you can't watch this movie. And it made me sad, so I had to go home and watch it.
His head would have exploded if this movie was
God,
out.
yeah, no.
Because this is South Park on a whole even lower level.
That's probably why I enjoy it so much, because I'm such a big South Park fan.
There you go.
No, this is definitely the humor. So
right,
I can
it's
see,
definitely the humor.
So Trey Parker, well, at least I know Trey Parker was a big fan of Trauma. That's why Cannibal the Musical, one of the movies that they did, was actually part of Trauma, or whatever. So I guarantee you this is something he found at the video store.
Oh, I'm
sure.
Like, we need to have dancing poos. Mr. Hanky.
Exactly. They were probably high and watching this movie.
Every movie should have talking, dancing poos. Come on.
Right? And all the female poos need to have pooties.
Pooties. Or shit boobs, as I call them.
Shitties.
So
Titties.
while we're
Because their
here
titties
and before we
shits.
sign off, let's talk a little bit about stuff that we're doing. So Sarah, what about you? What are you doing these days that you want other folks to know?
Still, really, the only thing I'm doing right now is with Jonathan, and that's the Horror Film Lovers podcast, and I have a bunch of acting projects going on with him as well. That's really all I'm doing at the moment.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Cody, what do you got going on?
Just writing music, playing shows, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, he's the metal musician.
Ah, very cool.
What's your band name?
We're called Malignant Rod. We're a little bit more extreme than death metal, but not as extreme as grindcore. Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to rename your band to the Poo Boobs?
We
Shitties.
might. We might.
Feculent.
We'll write a song about it.
There you go. There you go. What about you, G Larry Butler? What's going on in your world?
Oh God, what is going
Where
on
do
with
I
you?
begin?
What's not going on?
What's not?
The
I
last
mean,
2 years have been amazing. So
you have like 20 projects.
more than that now.
that are coming out.
A couple dozen in the
Yeah.
last year and a half, and so I have trouble scheduling things. But I'm really looking forward to working with you folks. And I've just finished a project, Jerry Giangelo project called Obscura, which is like almost a big budget film. It's not a studio. It's in between Andy and the studio, and I play his father. And now I play a lot of grandfathers and fathers, but still it's okay. And so I'm looking forward to playing the governor in your project.
Yeah, you get to play the governor of Echo
outstanding.
Lake.
So-
We're excited.
And
Get to
I,
see it perform,
Yeah. So it's just amazing stuff. I got Pan Man 2 coming up, and oops, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, now everybody knows
I can
it's
I
back
can hear that.
after 10 years. So anybody out there that wants to see number one, it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, we just watched a bunch of number one. So.
And some number twos.
Oh yeah.
Mostly number two.
Mostly number two. What about you, Mr. Moody?
That's it. I mean, we're just shooting Scream Queen Campfire, some stuff up here for that, and doing a bunch of podcasts here. We got Horror Film Lovers. We'll start back next year, but we're getting a head start on that. You and I, Paul, have a million projects, a million podcasts. So, is there any ones that you wanted to particularly shout out about?
Not quite yet. I'm still trying to get my weird ducks in a row for all the other podcast shows that we have coming.
I know
up
you
here,
still.
so.
I mean, you're still gonna do Sexploitation.
Oh, yeah,
Sexcast
yeah.
second season next
We'll
year.
do that with Rebecca or whoever.
I shout out to the three of us that are doing Hooked on Hitchcock.
There you go.
There you go.
Psycho.
And then, we
Nice.
got a lot of stuff going on. So there's so much. Just this week, like we're doing like 5 podcasts,
There
and
you
then
go.
and recording, some stuff for Scream Queen Campfire. So, just very, very glad we were able to get everybody out of here, and we got to meet these
Yay!
guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Larry, we've met before. We've worked with, we've done the podcasting stuff with, but you guys,
Yeah,
that's
all
amazing.
of me and Jonathan's podcasts have all been long distance, so this is our first meet after a little over a year, almost 2 years of
Welcome to
friendship now.
Virginia.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we are Texans. This is my first time to Virginia.
Yeah,
I'm so pleased that I'm able to work with you nice folks, and I'm so super pleased that I'm able to show you a talking, singing poo movie
Yeah.
with all kinds of fart and dick jokes and ridiculousness.
You told, I mean, you
Right up my
warned us
alley.
about that beforehand.
Hey,
and
that's my bread and butter.
I don't
you
think
go.
we were very ready.
I wasn't expecting all of that, but you know
Yes.
what? I'm glad. I'm happy.
It was a pleasant surprise.
Right? Yeah.
You didn't know you wanted it, right?
Yeah. I didn't know I wanted it till I got it.
That's what
That's
she
what
It's like
said.
the California reason for poop.
Outstanding.
Right.
All right, guys.
Guys should have had corn in them or something, though.
Right.
Not very realistic. Those tits
Well,
were all fake.
thank you all very, very much for joining us on this episode. Please pay attention because we all have lots of other episodes coming up. And who the heck knows what Mr. Moody's going to pull out of his Uranus next episode. I'm sure now that the glove has been tossed, he's going to try and find something stinky and weird.
I've got something planned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're almost done season 4.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think you've got one more episode yourself, and I think for your second to last episode, you went all out, so.
Like I said, I saved it up for Mr. G Larry Butler.
I did Killer Biker Chicks, and you were like, I'm going shitty as well.
All right. Well,
Shit and boobs. There you go.
But you still, I'm surprised you guys get great, scores and everything.
Yeah,
so
that's
thank
great.
you.
yeah, we
That's
only got
amazing.
2 stinky scores.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
stickers.
Well, thanks everybody for listening to the program, and please tune in next month, and we will see you next time on Indie Film Cafe.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Oh, see, I'm still up in the red.
Okay. So,
But that's just me. Now I'm not in the red. Oh, I can be. You're fucking monkeys in the red.
Hello. Hello. Is it recording?
It's
I can't
recording,
tell.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Pause. Oops, nope, it's still going. Hello.
Space bar.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Blooper reel.
Nope. Oh.